This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission to
Guys, we watched a bunch of movies. We're on number 9 this week. Can you believe it? 9th best movie of all time.
Wow.
We only got a handful left. 2 handfuls. That's it.
Can't believe it.
This week, 1966. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone. Do we even talk about what we do on this podcast? Is it no?
Yeah, we watch movies. We talk about them. Try to decide whether it's in our own top 250.
Or if
That's
it's
all.
in a top 250 that we just can't comprehend.
Yep. And then have trivia, making of, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
that's
All
what we do.
Good.
And then we usually talk shit or,
Yeah.
maybe gush over it, depending.
Yeah, and we'll see. And we typically these days start with a quick 20-second spoiler-free review in case you're worried about a spoiler from a movie from 1966. We might as well do it just to keep the trend going. So 20 seconds up on the clock. Who wants to go first here?
I'll go first.
Any takers? TC.
Go TC.
So, I get it. It's a masterpiece. It's,
I get it.
it's getting through all the film schools, and you got to watch this, and I agree. But if you have a short attention span, it's a long movie, and it kind of drags on at some points. But yeah, ultimately, it's got some good acting. It's got great shots. It's got great scenery. It's his masterpiece, but
It's not TC's masterpiece.
it's not my masterpiece.
No.
John, why don't you go second?
Awesome score. The score is one of the best, I think, ever, clearly. Everybody else, I don't know, the acting's kind of good, but it's all one note, and we've seen this before from Sergio in better films, I think, and the Civil War stuff was stupid. I'm sorry, that's just so
Coming
out
from
of place in this
history
stuff.
Just so dumb.
Okay. So my turn. I'll say that this movie makes it obvious that it's mostly men voting on the IMDb top 250, and it's also people who follow other famous directors' opinions pretty heavily.
Yeah.
But I will say that, even though it has some of the worst sound you could ever want in a movie, like dialogue sound, it has like some pretty sporadic, great editing, some constantly great cinematography, and the score is out of control. It's like, one of the best in movies. The soundtrack is better than the movie.
Yeah.
If you could isolate everything else from this movie and just have cinematography and score, this movie would be freaking amazing. And there are some parts where the editing is really good, but then there's a lot of other parts where it's just no editing at all. It's just super fucking long, and you can just point at it and be like, this is what he wants.
Yeah.
You're like, that's fine, but that's not what I want.
Exactly. That's it, Denny. You nailed that.
And it is kind of, they teach it in school because this guy just does what he wants to do. It's obvious through his style that, like, this is exactly what he wanted to do.
He takes his time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can see his style like growing over the course of these 3 movies and just over his career and stuff. So, he's talented. It's just like a taste thing, I think.
Right.
Well, and nobody does that.
attention span
Just
thing.
lingering on a dirty face. It's so good. I love it.
Sometimes it hits, sometimes it just.
But then 3
it's a
hours in,
bore.
you're like, another face close up? I think
right.
I get it.
I get it.
Yeah, right. That's fair.
I feel like I use that one a lot on this. Like, okay, I get it.
you do.
But
What do we got?
Really,
Let's see. We got long shot by a face close up, and then another long shot, and then a
Are we
face
going
close up, and then another long shot, and a face
medium,
close
and then we're
up.
going close. Oh, okay, and we're gonna go all 3. Oh, yep, and then we're gonna go back out again. We're going back out again. Yep, he's going for it. And,
But it looks great.
And hold.
It looks
and
great.
hold and hold. And
in this
see.
movie, they do
Nice.
some subtle things that are better than other movies that he does like this. Like the scene where they're creeping into the his hotel room, which kind of reminded me of No Country for Old Men. And the marching stops and the spurs are heard, and you see it zooms in and Clint's eyes take up the entire fucking screen, and he like darts his eyes to the right and then to the left, and you get exactly like what he's thinking and where he's looking and who he's aware of and all that stuff. And they do that without dialogue, and that stuff. Like the editing and the cinematography go really well together when that happens.
Yeah,
but
I love those long scenes of no talking too. Like when we first meet the ugly guys jumping out the window, but before then you're seeing these guys like creep up on the saloon, and you have no idea what's going on.
You think it's
you
2
don't know if
versus 1 of these guys
fight
outside, right?
Yeah, I thought these guys are going to fight each other. You have no idea what's happening, and I loved it though because it's just like they're basically trying to creep up in on the saloon. That's what we didn't know. That's exactly what was happening until they go in there and all get shot and die. It's just
So
it's
quick
great.
too. Like boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom, boom. All dead.
Yeah, yeah. That was a great. I really love that sequence. The way
And
it
the
all plays
freeze
out.
frame
like,
with the ay. It's like,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
this is pretty
And
classic.
that's when you
This is
first
burned
hit
into
it.
my head.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, there's just the style of that, and there's again, other parts of the film don't have this, but there's a whimsicalness to that part with the score and the way they do that. That
It's
I
cartoonish.
really love.
He has a chicken leg in his hand, and he's got booze in his other hand with a gun. He's got 3 things in his hand, and he's able to kill these 3 guys in a half a second.
Clint does make some great faces. I mean, he does.
They all do.
Yeah, he really
They all
does.
squint great.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
They got a good bunch of squinters, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of a I mean, yeah, Clint Eastwood is king of squint.
Yeah.
They can all suck on cigars pretty interestingly too. Gotta say,
Yeah, it makes for a good prop. I like the way they do it.
Yeah.
I like the way they always, everybody gets a cigar and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like you just got, kid's dying. Just shove the cigar in his mouth. Either one scene where the ugly guy eats it. He just, it's great.
there's a scene where
Again.
Clint gives it to the ugly, and the ugly takes it, and he's like, "Oh, we're friends now." And you can see it on his face and how he's like moving it around in his mouth, and he's like, "Yeah, we're friends."
We're
Even though I just tried to
Yeah.
kill him, I'm totally
That's
forgiven.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man. But what a shitty racket that like that's gonna like not get around, that you're basically turning guys in and then you're like
Yep.
Yeah, you're shooting the rope.
Because how
out,
are they
like,
aware
you
that
know,
the price is going up if they're not also aware that the reason why
Right.
it went up
Right.
in the town, which is that
Because
they're scamming people?
there's no email. There's no phone.
Well,
But they have to get the 3,000 somehow.
telegraphs. Yeah, they got the reward.
If it
going
goes
up.
from 2 to
got
3,000,
telegraphs.
people are like,
and
why did that
people
happen?
are talking? Yeah,
People
it's a big
I
deal.
guess
It's like,
they're
hey,
stupid. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
nobody noticed. Hey, the guy that like turned him in is the same guy that shot all our hats off and then rode off. That's the same guy.
Do you think it was from the other place too?
I think
And how is
they're
there not
like
a new
buddies.
thing for Clint? Like, hey, there's a new
Right.
guy out. This is
Yeah.
his face. He's traveling with
Like,
this guy.
This is just not going to be like steady money. Maybe you do that once, but it doesn't really seem like it should be your career. It's like, the ugly guy doesn't work out, so he gets a new guy to hang. Like, because I guess there's just no end to the profit of.
I mean, he
staging
did cut it
hangs.
off. He could have kept
Rob
going
a fucking
forever.
bank. I mean, what? How hard? This is hard. You got to shoot.
It is.
The rope,
It is
you
an
gotta shoot the
elaborate
hat.
scheme. Yeah.
Yeah,
With a lot of like assumptions that things are going
There's
to
a lot
happen.
could go
Yeah.
wrong there, even if nobody knows what you're doing.
It's assuming that nobody has a horse to chase you on.
Oh yeah,
Like, none of those
right?
guys have guns, and nobody has
I
a
don't
horse. What the fuck?
I guess you shoot their hats off, and it renders them impotent.
They can't do
They
anything.
do nothing else at
They
that
don't
point.
remember how to do
I'm
anything.
done.
They don't remember how
My
to ride a
hat's
horse.
gone.
Yeah.
I am done. I am going the fuck home. He shot my hat off. There's nothing more
Look,
for me
he
to do.
stared
here.
at me and my hat's gone, so I'm done.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
like I ain't going
If there was
after
a guy
him.
that could
Like,
shoot 10 dudes' hats off right in a row, I'd just stand in the same spot too, hoping he didn't want to end me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good point.
What's so fun? It's amazing too. It's so many scenes where they're like, there's a couple of scenes where they start like clinging to the walls or doing something, but it's like otherwise, like they're going and looking for somebody. They're walking right down the fucking middle of the goddamn street. It's like, this is not what you want to do. You know, just sure it looks good,
But it's
man,
more badass
you know,
that
I mean,
way, yeah.
It does.
I know
look
it is
great.
totally badass that you just walk down the middle of the fucking street.
Because even if they get caught, they can shoot their way out of it, so they don't care either way.
That's
They're
true.
okay.
Yeah, they're just good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they call this guy the good, but the good,
No,
Clint Eastwood's character,
right.
kills more people than either of the other two combined in this movie. Just like murder. He's a murderer. They all are.
Yes, they all are. I like how, again, they're all nice, squinty, dirty faced guys, but they're all distinct. They're all different in their style, and I like that too. So yeah, he's not good, but he does have a different style where he's chill. You know, no matter what's going on, he's just the chill kind of guy.
Well, he's the guy that's like
what I
operating
mean,
within the realms of the law. And then you have the guy.
Untouchable.
If
Untouchable.
stage hangings aside, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe that's not against the law. Maybe it's not written, so he's fine.
I guess so. It's like, yeah,
I don't know.
maybe it's like, yeah, it's like trial. You know, if some guy can like shoot the rope and shoot all the other guys' hats off, then the hanging's off. It's kind of like when they say, you know, it's like trial by combat. We're going to let God sort it out.
It's
sort
the
of, in
hat
sense
rule.
of-
It's the 3 hat rule.
Yeah.
If you get 3 hats off with one clip,
yeah, 3
then
hats
you're good.
off. God,
That's it.
God must want you to live.
Right.
And you don't hit anybody in the face with a bullet, then
Right.
you're fine.
And you shoot the rope. You shoot the rope and the
Yeah,
hats.
rope first, 3 hats, no killing anyone.
God is on your side. The man must have been innocent. So,
The guy writing us like, no one's ever going to be able to do this. And Clint's like, I found a loophole. We got it, guys.
I got a loophole.
Perfect scheme.
people won't know anyway, right? Like us, we
Right.
don't know.
But I even found so some of the editing parts were really good, but at the end, it's too much. It's too much for me, at least. Like when they were standing in the circle, the soundtrack is awesome, but it's just too much. It's too long.
Yeah.
It's too
At
much
that
of the
point,
same
you're
thing
just
over
tired.
and over again.
Yeah. At that point, yeah, I agree. I'm tired. I love the scene. I love the graveyard.
And I love
is awesome.
I love
And-
the idea of it. Like
Yep.
it's faster and faster editing as the music crescendos. Like that
Yeah.
as an idea is great. It's just like maybe it's because we didn't grow up when this movie came out and we're too accustomed to faster things. It was just too slow.
It was slow.
Maybe, but,
Yeah.
but
Nah, it
too
was
slow
too slow.
after 3 hours of slow though,
Right.
too. Like if this film was half as long, which it very well could have been.
But I like that idea too. It's like you've already endured 3 hours. We're gonna make it
Right.
really slow at the end.
Really long this
We're
time.
gonna make it stand out by
Like-
being even
I
slower
don't know,
at the end.
And
How
we're going to do a
many-
lot of eyes,
Yeah.
tons of eyes,
Yeah.
and it's just going to keep
wonder how
happening.
many-
Fuck.
Looking back, looking forth, looking left, looking right. Everyone's
Is he
looking
still
left, and
pointing
the
the
other
gun
guy's
at us?
looking right.
He's still pointing the gun at us. What do you think? Is he going to make us dig some more? He's going to make us dig some more. I'm going to take a smoke of this cigarette. Yeah, you should. And they look at each other every time it happens, and they do it forever.
I'm gonna wiggle my fingers near my gun so everyone
Right.
knows that I'm
I
ready.
would
to
notice
I'm
fire.
going to
that guy
spin
has,
it
like,
around
a
on my
nub of a
finger, and I'm going
finger.
to put it back in my holster, and I'm going
Yeah.
to stare at you.
Oh, you noticed Angel Eyes has a lost finger?
Angel is he had a lost finger.
Yeah, he got it
Yeah.
cut off by accident outside of the movie.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn,
Just
on the
an
set,
injury
huh?
he has. Yeah.
They just smoked back then. They could cut your finger off. It's
But-
still got to work.
I wonder how many cuts were there. I wonder, like 100.
Oh, yeah, how many-
yeah, that's a
last
great
scene,
question.
Probably
Like
counted.
how many times?
Let's
did
work
they
it
shift
backwards.
from the eyes to the gun to the.
I think it's a 4-minute long scene. I think it's probably 4 minutes long.
yeah.
And I think by the end, you're getting a cut every fraction of a second, like every 3 cuts a second, maybe. And then in the beginning, it might be much slower, like 5 seconds. So between 3 and 5, like 0.3 and 5, you might have like an average of 2. Every 2 seconds, there's a cut for 4 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm guessing 480 cuts
Yeah.
is my guess.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well,
Is there a way to figure this out, John? Hopefully there's trivia on this.
I'm sure. Well, you're a trivia guy.
Well, this is
I'm
very
sure there's some way to
specific.
look it up.
Nobody mentioned it.
I know. I don't really want to.
putting him on the spot, John.
3 minutes. Oh, this is what I got. I'm asking my resident LLM, and it's telling me that it lasts over 3 minutes and features over 65 cuts.
That's way low.
Good
That's gotta
math,
be way
Danny.
low.
I'm going Danny
It-
math.
My resident LLM has been known to make things up. so-
It makes things up a lot.
Yeah.
They're getting worse.
I could go back and count. You want me to go count 500 times?
Ooh. Yeah, we'll
Every
wait
frame
for you.
will sit right here.
Yeah, I gotta watch it in half speed so I make sure I don't fuck up the count. I'm not sure I can count that fast. But I don't know. Let's just go with 480. Just count it as
I'm
fact. huh?
going. We'll half it. We'll go 200, and 200,
Or
300, something like that. You know.
Okay, that's still a lot. It's got to be a lot. Can we talk about the sound? I find the dialogue to be the most distracting.
ADR?
Yeah,
Oh, it's
the
really
most
bad.
distracting
Oh,
thing.
oh
I
God!
know.
When the
Really, really,
soldiers
really
are
bad.
singing
Say
and they're
again?
not singing, the band is playing.
Oh yeah.
And it's supposed to be this really like dramatic thing because apparently somehow if they keep playing, the torture keeps going. I don't know what the fuck, but anyway, it's supposed to be really dramatic and sad. But they're whatever they're playing is nothing like what's on the soundtrack. That's supposed to be what they're playing or they're singing. It's just ridiculous at that point too. It's just like come on. I mean, yeah. So it's good that they have a lot of non-talking scenes for the most part because the awful
It works better as a
ADR
silent
doesn't-
film almost.
Yeah, it slaps you in the face like a wet
And it's
fish.
not-
when
it's not
just
one of the
like-
things where you get used
some
to
of
it either.
No, some of it's so
Yeah.
far off too.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
that must
'Cause
have been
they're
a
not
different. It must have been
they're
a different
speaking-
line.
Yeah, there's only
Right.
3 actors in this movie that spoke English, and it was the 3 main actors. Everyone else either spoke Spanish or Italian.
Oh, I thought
they
they
just-
were.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were speaking a totally different line, and they were editing around
Yeah.
something. I didn't
It was a whole
realize
different
a whole
language.
different language. Wow.
Whole different language. Yeah, because like they film it in Spain, and it's a Italian production, and this
Yeah.
is how those spaghetti westerns go. And This is
Right.
why they had such a bad reputation because they're kind of sloppily put together in this one respect, at the very least. And like a lot of other movies are way worse at all the stuff that Sergio is good at. But like Italian movies back then, is this still the case? I don't think it is anymore, but it was for a very long time that Italian cinema studios didn't get built with sound in mind because they were built back in like the 1920s and they didn't think of it back then, and they never rebuilt. I think that's may have changed, but like it didn't change for like nearly 100 years. So like most of the Italian movies up to the 90s, even like Life is Beautiful, same thing. Everything was dubbed. Just like what you have to eat when you're watching Italian movies, and it's fucking hard, especially if you're not watching it in Italian. Right. Like if everything looks off, even if you can see the guy is speaking English and you can hear English and you can see it's the same line, but it's so far off, you're just like, couldn't you have at least done this one right?
I know.
Like you're focused so much on all this other stuff. This is so, it takes you out so much and like all the time.
I guess it just somehow it just wasn't thought of as a big deal, right? It's just, I don't know, or maybe that's
it was
just
almost like
tradition.
a normal
it's like,
process.
Yeah, it's like what everybody was used to, I guess, too. Yeah, it's just like, it's just the talking. It's not important.
The Foley is almost non-existent. They try to do some stuff, but like it's really hard to feel like you're in this place with them, and it sucks because like the sets and the locations are sweet a lot of the time, but I always feel like it feels like you're watching a movie because there's so many things that remove you from the experience with mostly the sound.
That would be a cool project to just redo the sound. Only the sound. No edits to the cut, nothing. Just
add sound, though.
Just completely replace everything. Yes.
Except for the soundtrack.
Right. So you take the score separate, and then every other item gets replaced. Dialogue, fucking...
So the question is, would you add Foley to like additional environment sounds to the last shootout scene where in this movie it's just the soundtrack? Would you add sound there?
No, but it
you'd
would
selectively
be for like,
add the sound.
Right, you'd do it for like the normal, them just.
Don't you think at the end though, just trying to imagine this thing by the end, if there was Foley throughout and then you removed it for this last part, that would seem kind of fucking weird?
Maybe you wouldn't then. Maybe you'd keep it. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't know either. I'm just trying to. It's very unique.
And then that's when the nerds would like cuss you and be like, "You're awful. I mean, how could you do
the soundtrack
this? Leave it alone."
What makes this movie, and it does get front and center because it's compared to the worst other stuff in the audio department. It just a sharp contrast.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. These are definitely things to think about, I guess.
Is it the best soundtrack for a movie?
I mean, you got this. You got Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars, but even Star Wars wasn't as. It didn't fit so well. I mean, I love Star Wars and all of it, but so it's kind of hard to say because it's so ubiquitous.
Indiana Jones is pretty good. I like that. The theme
it's just
song
very minimalist.
Yeah.
So it was
Jaws.
You know,
but Jaws is pretty good.
It's very minimalist. That's fair. Yeah,
Jaws.
But definitely, it's definitely top 10 or top 5.
It could be number 1. I mean, everybody knows it. And it's not. This movie isn't as popular as those other movies, right? Like this one is.
But it's also. It's not just that main theme, but there's really distinctive other themes. Again, like Star Wars has that too. And so it's not just that it has the one theme that's really awesome, but there's, 4 or 5 really cool, just like hits in terms of like a riff or I don't know what you'd call it, like a theme.
I mean, this is the weirdest soundtrack too. Like this is way earlier than Star Trek. So like this is back in the day where soundtracks sucked for the most part. Like nowadays we look back and we're like, oh, it's big band. It's like, this music sucks. All of it does. It's
and
just
it would
really
just
loud
like
and
meander in the
constant,
background,
or just constant orchestra,
overdone. But this one was like very experimental, yet somehow had a popular reach. Can I read you this? I was reading through trivia and stuff, and this guy Alex Lindhart had a pretty good description of the soundtrack. Can I read this?
Yeah.
Sure. Film was the most important medium of the 20th century, and Ennio Morricone was amongst its chief architects. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly didn't simply reinvent soundtracks; it reinvented movies. For the most uncouth audiences, the title theme held just the opening "Wah Wah Wah" is synonymous with stoicism, murder, and pop art delirium. Despite the Wagnerian crescendos and theatrical irony, every effect is critical and unforgettable. Pacing boots, tribal flutes, flaring surf guitar, Indian war whoops, field-recorded float Sam, meth-mangled trumpet solos. In just under 3 minutes, Morricone condenses all of the greatest elements of music from opera, garage, music concrete, I don't know what that is, peyote songs, whatever, and layers it over stampeding horses and shotgun blasts. It's kaleidoscopic, exhilarating, and incontrovertibly badass.
Nice.
Wow.
I think it's true. It's like a weird mishmash of all this shit, and in the opening theme, there's nothing else like it.
No,
not combined like
and
this.
it's sparse, and it plays well with the scenery, I think. And that's kind of
Right.
what.
And it's still like we like Star Wars and even Jaws, but those are still very much orchestra pieces. There's not much more to them than that, even though they're great. This is like, in terms of its varied style and everything like that, is all over the place. And it's really awesome in that sense. It makes it even cooler in that sense. It's not just like a great theme. It's all of these different elements and styles that are all like messed up together too. And it still sounds awesome. So yeah, it's really that.
And it's not just random. It like elevates the movie. If this movie didn't have the soundtrack, this movie, like, it makes it sound like.
Can you imagine how boring it would be?
Yeah.
Because
No
I
kidding.
mean, Jesus Christ.
Wonder what the first cut before Ennio got his hands on it. Just like, oh man, I got to write 3 hours worth of music. God damn it, this is gonna be hard.
Why you do this so long? Something like
You got
that.
to edit yourself out, TC.
There we go.
Self-edit.
But why you doing this so long? Just like that.
Why does it have to be funny?
It still is funny.
Opening shot, pretty good opening shots. You have the wide landscape, and in the same shot, the dude comes in for the facial close-up, and you're like, here you go. That's the movie in a half a second. You got the landscape,
that's right.
you got the face. This one combines.
We got the thing.
gives you the one,
We
gives you
did the
two.
thing.
It's
We did
literally
the
the
Sergio
movie.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a medium shot in this movie? That's a question.
I think so. Some of them between the two
Probably.
guys.
I
Yeah.
think when two goes
When
in the
there's
tub,
more than one person talking.
yeah, you got to show like what room they're talking in for a half a second, then you can go to the
or
close-up.
what
Yeah.
rock
So
they're
the-
sitting around.
Right. So there's some of that, but it's
But
certainly
it's not many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else you guys got? I got some trivia on this one.
Yeah.
not
I mean,
much.
I don't know there's much more to say. Yeah. I mean, it's
Like I said, it's not my masterpiece.
It's not mine either, but I can
Well,
certainly see
I
the
don't know if we
influence.
call it
But
Sergio's.
You got. I mean,
think-
if you're a movie nerd, you should definitely watch. If you're someone that doesn't have an attention span, I would skip it because you're not.
Or
gonna
if you're
wanna
a
sit
woman,
through it.
maybe skip it too. Naomi watched a good decent part
I
of it.
wasn't
and
going
she's
to
like,
say that, but yeah, that's
she's like,
kind
this
of
is
where
a
I was
guy's
headed.
movie.
this is a guy
Yep.
film. Yeah.
It's guys being at war and doing scoundrelly shit,
Guys
and being
doing
all
guy
dirty and
things.
hanging out with each other, and the only women in the movie just get
Ken.
slapped. Yeah, you got to
Right.
slap all the women in the movie. That's what kind of movie
That's
this is.
right.
And at one part is just like, well, yeah, it's kind of accurately representing the Wild West, where most of the men were the ones doing the crime shit, and most of the men were doing the ones fighting. But
Yeah, but it's making Clint Eastwood seem like the fucking man.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, but it's a good point. That's by far probably the most sequential slaps that we've seen
Yeah.
in any
it
film
was
that we've seen.
highly controversial at the time.
Was
those
it?
slaps?
Oh, yeah.
They cut like the
There was, like, how
number
many-
of
how many
slaps
were there?
was
There was, like-
controversial.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, that's so fucking stupid. I don't know. I always felt weird about how back since like the 30s they were slapping women, because in reality men were
don't
slapping
know
women.
why.
But if you show it in a cartoony and unrealistic fashion, it's fine to show. But if you show how realistic and brutal and inappropriate it is on screen, then it's inappropriate, even though that's the reality of what the fuck is happening in these other movies. It's kind of backwards. It like
Don't question
cartoonizes
Hollywood.
violence.
Okay.
It makes
You don't
violence seem
question.
less scary. You know,
Yeah.
violence should always. I'm on Villeneuve's page, Villeneuve, whatever the fuck his name is. He doesn't like violence, and whenever he puts it in his movies, it should be scary because that's the reality of it.
It should be
Yeah.
awful. It should be.
And you shouldn't not
that
be able to
makes
show that.
sense.
That's all you should be able to show.
Right.
I think,
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Unless it's for kids.
There's or you're Quentin Tarantino and you just want to be like, it's cool. This is cool. This is awesome, and that's also fine
Sometimes it's
when
cool.
the style's that way too. Sometimes it is
Yeah.
cool.
Did you
But anyway.
feel Tarantino sucking all the power out of this movie?
I
Like
mean,
Tarantino
kinda.
watches this over and over again, and is like, "I'm gonna use that. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
use
use
that.
that.
I'm
And
gonna
I'm
use
gonna
that."
do that. Exactly.
The scene of the bear juice coming out of the cave in Inglourious Bastards, 100% Leone. Like,
Yeah.
make it longer. They can take it.
Well, definitely, you can think about. I'm sure he's thinking like any of those great scenes when he has characters and silent moments and people looking at each other, and how you decide to frame those shots and edit those shots together. Like this is what this guy, what Sergio does, right? And so
It's a slow build up to short bursts of violence, right?
right.
It's-
So
he
yeah.
like started this basically.
Yeah, like that's exactly like again, probably my favorite scene is like I was saying that there's like those four guys. You don't know what they're doing. They're slowly walking down the street. I think they might fight each other. They're looking at each other. You don't know if they're what the fuck. But you're cutting the four guys. Where are they going? What are they doing? Very, very, very slow. Then they jump into the saloon, get killed, bad guy jumps out the window, right? And you.
I mean, the first three scenes with introducing the characters are the same. They both kill 3 people, and it's a long build-up. They get their own long individual build-up. Like Angel Eyes comes to the second scene. It comes into the house. You don't know what the situation is. He talks to a bunch of people. They sit down and eat dinner.
Right. That was also good. I love that, right? Like
it's a slow build-up. The guy tries to get out of it. It's real quiet. And then all of a sudden, bam, 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 bam.
No talking. Yeah. And I love it, like, no talking. And he comes in, he sits down.
His family looks at him. He like gives his family nods. They walk away.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Good point. I forgot about that scene, right? And then he comes in, he eats, and they both sit and eat for a bit.
The guy's like, "Are you going to kill me? I can't tell. It's pretty hard to tell."
That's right.
So then they die, and then it cuts to Tuco again when he's riding a horse, and it's 3 other guys. So Angel Eyes just killed 3 people again, and then 3 guys capture Tuco, but then Blondie comes, stares them down, and then kills all 3 of them in a short burst.
His blow-dried hair, I mean, you don't get that. I mean, I don't know. At some point, I was irritated with it, and then I got over it.
I was expecting him as a cameo in the Dune movies, just because it's desert there, too, and he just walks in with his puffy little golden hair. You're like, this is what the desert does to my hair, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It's fucking perfect.
It's something I can do.
I can't help it. It makes me look this cool.
His hair grows back when he's in the desert. He's like 93 years old. It just starts growing really fast out of his head. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, those scenes, Tarantino rips those off, the long shots. It's good. I mean, lots of directors took influence from this. Comic book designers also apparently took a lot of influence from this. Like the framing of the eyes wasn't used a lot in comics before, or like close-up faces, and now it's like a pretty common thing to like show someone's expression. And it was also from Sergio, which is kind of cool. Like this, you know, you like to think like things influence things over time. But in this movie, there are a number of things that were done for the first time, you know, and then like everyone takes influence from it. Wow, it's just not, you know, it may be somewhat boring, but it's not as boring as Metropolis or Citizen Kane or anything like that, right? It's not like there yet, maybe.
Right. And we've seen his slightly more refined versions of it and liked it better. Oh, I like those other movies better.
Like Inglourious Basterds.
They were there. Well, no, but also like even I liked Once Upon a Time in the West more than I like this one as far as the movie.
In terms of like the plot, or
no, well, in terms of not necessarily the plot, but I enjoyed the film more. This one I got bored more, even though I appreciated different elements, including the soundtrack. But I got bored during this one more than the others that we've seen.
Yeah,
because there's certain stuff that I mean, again, there's stuff in Once Upon a Time in the West where I kind of got bored. I sort of lost the plot for a while too, and it's just, but there was still some, I don't know, it's still pretty awesome stuff. It's just. You don't necessarily want to watch all of it all at once.
Yeah, you have time
for that.
Want
to watch it. I mean, it's great.
It is pretty great, but I don't want to watch it.
It's not the best to watch per se. Talk about it's awesome, but watch it.
You probably, I don't know. And then you get a good question: is it going to be? Well, again, like the Civil War stuff seems like it could be just cut right out there, but you want to have a lot of long stuff to get that tension, right? So you want it to be slow. You wouldn't want like a 40-minute edit of this film, probably, but you can wonder if it'd still be, you know, you want a lot of the slow pace stuff.
2:15,
but a 2-hour edit might be nice. Yeah, I know, not the 3 hour.
What would you cut out though? Because I mean, even though I agree, it's
all the Civil War shit.
That's important for the plot, isn't it?
That was all just not really.
They need to get across that river, and they need to like distract the soldiers to get across it because the river doesn't exist up or downstream of that one spot, John. Obviously, that's the way rivers work. You're just going to go out
there and you're going to be putting fucking dynamite where there's like soldiers on either side. Nobody's going to see you. Of course, you're going to be fine.
They're busy planning on their maps what to do next.
Yeah, all of them apparently, or drink. They're all drunk apparently too. That's the other thing. I don't know, or at least the people in charge. Yeah, nobody's going to notice that.
And did you notice how like they're fighting in Texas and they are in trench warfare and they have dynamite? So it makes this movie really historically accurate with those 3 things going on during the Civil War.
Yes.
None of those things happened.
Didn't catch that.
I know.
It's just fake. They inserted it.
It's just, it really was dumb. It was dumb.
But it looked cool.
But
I like the scene of the bridge blowing up. It took a while to get there. When the guy's running, it looks pretty good.
I know, you're right. The scene looked pretty good.
They could have done a lot less of walking around the trenches with a drunk captain, right? They could have just gotten there. The guy could have been like, oh, fuck, we're about to get into war. Hit the deck, guys. And then they run or whatever. everyone runs. I don't know.
Yeah, I just so Clint being like, never has. What did he fucking say? It was so dumb. He's like, never has so many men wasted their lives for something so useless.
I'm gonna go murder some other people. I'm gonna go murder indiscriminately again.
Just pontificating, but like nothing coming of it.
Yeah,
on the Civil War. Fuck. Jeez.
Anyway, that's pure Clint, John. It's pure Clint right there. Spoken like a pure Clint Eastwood.
I thought that was Sergio, though. I thought Sergio also, at least I was reading the Wikipedia, he thought that the Civil War was nonsense, so he was happy to make some commentary on it.
Cool.
As like a joke. I see.
He just thought it was a
both sides are the same.
endeavor.
Am I right? Am I right, Sergio? God damn it.
Yeah.
What else? Trying to think. I like the line where Tuco says, "When you have to shoot. Don't talk."
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
Yep, that's a good
Tuco
one.
has great lines. Tuco was great.
funny.
He was really very. He did a good job of being very like a very likable bastard.
Yep.
And he seemed like he's either a really good actor or that is him, right? There's like he has such a character in the way he moves and his attitude and everything. It's really consistent and it's like a fully realized character he has on there. Unlike the other two guys who are kind of just like stone cold badass looking dudes.
Right, they're way too aloof. Like Angel is his aloof.
He's got an open heart, He just wants a friend.
Yeah.
He's willing to drag his friend through the desert, but he just wants a friend.
He had a rough time with his family. He didn't get along with his brother. I don't know.
I didn't understand that relationship there.
I don't either, but he played it well. Tuco comes out, you can tell he's hurt by his brother. It's like he does it well, But yeah,
I think the best acting in the movie to me was when he just finished walking across the desert and he hits that pool of water and he just like taps his lips with water and then like splashes on his face like hesitantly and he looks like he's in pain. He looks like all the water hurts and he really, really wants the water though. Like that whole thing was
like they almost like they left him out there,
right?
And he
and
wasn't
the makeup looked pretty good.
Yeah,
then
they might have.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, trivia, and then you can bring up other shit if it comes up in the trivia that you want to talk about.
Sounds good.
So this movie was made for $1.6 million. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was a lot back then. So Clint was very hesitant on joining this because he already did the first two movies in this trilogy for a fistful of dollars and a few dollars more. And the first one, it was just Clint. Second one, there was a second guy. I forget who the second guy was.
Right.
But in this one, they were talking about having three guys. And Clint was like becoming a leading dude. And he's like, I don't want to do that. Someone's going to steal my thunder. And I'm not even the main character as it's written in the script. It's this Tuco guy.
Yep.
So it took a lot of convincing. And it wasn't so much verbal convincing. It was money convincing. This movie. So with a $1.6 million budget, there's two things I read. So decipher this yourself. He either got $450,000 plus 10% of the Western profits, or $250,000 a Ferrari and 10% of the Western profits.
No matter what, he got 10% of the one.
He got 10%.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Can you
So
imagine?
like that's like a third, a little under a third of the entire budget of the movie was for Clint.
He's probably still getting paid for that.
Probably, yeah. All the I just bought the 4K Blu-ray which just came out. Like he's getting 10% of that, right?
Jesus,
it's crazy. But I mean, he is a star, and he's probably the reason it got like Western distribution, right? If it was just some other random dude,
that's true.
no one in the United States would have watched this movie, which is pretty nuts. Especially considering that this guy started Clint Eastwood's career. Like for A Fistful of Dollars was like his big break, and for a few dollars more made him even more popular. And by the end, he's just like, "Well, you got me in the door, and I'm doing pretty good in Hollywood, so fuck you, Sergio." And that's what he said after making this movie, because apparently he didn't like
it. Apparently he didn't have a good time.
No.
Huh?
Sergio Leone is a perfectionist and his demands are too frequent and too much.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Part of the reason he didn't like it in this one specifically is because Clint doesn't like smoking and he had to smoke a lot and he had a lot of shots with a cigar in his mouth, and by the end of those scenes he'd be like, Sergio, you have to get it in this take. I'm going to vomit. Like you have to get it.
That does suck.
Yeah. Like hand-rolled cigars, like that's got to be even worse than the other stuff.
Right. Yeah. Oof.
So he did not like that. I mean,
you think he'd get to with the nicotine and everything, you'd just start to like it.
No, I think it makes you sick when you don't usually do it.
Yeah. He was doing it like all day. You're going from zero to having a cigar in your mouth all day.
Into your brain.
I like cigars, and I can't handle one for more than like a half an hour at a wedding. Once I get past the half an hour mark, I'm like, my fucking head hurts and my mouth tastes like shit. I want to throw this thing away.
Yep.
I wonder why you look so unhappy all the time with the squint and the scowl. It worked.
It's true. He is. He's uncomfortable.
But it was a very, I mean, I don't know, justifies it. It was a very useful prop. It worked really well. Much better than the fucking harmonica.
And the paint on his face was real, right? It looked real.
Yeah.
When he's like squinting, he's like, oh, God damn it. It sucks to be where I am.
Cigarette.
He also had heat
place.
stroke or heat exhaustion, rather, a few times. So he was having a bad time with this movie. I mean, they filmed it in the desert in Spain. So, what else we got? The scene where Eli Wallach, who plays Tuco in the gun store, that was all improvised. None of it was written. They had a gun guy come and show him how to disassemble guns for a little while beforehand, and they just set him loose with all those guns. So all that stuff was just he made it up on the spot, like spinning it, listening to it, showing it to the guy. And the guy's reactions were all real too.
Well, it seems like you own a fucking gun shop. You should have your own protection and be wary of this sort of thing. Right? You know what I mean?
Does that hasn't happened before? What is this? Isn't this the Wild West?
What
the
fuck?
The guy looked like he'd never been robbed before. I don't know.
And this guy just came out of the
I'll give you
desert.
the cartridges. Let me go get the cartridges for you so you can shoot.
I'll just give you the bullets. Why
the guy's
not?
covered in water, covered in sun sores, stinks like you probably couldn't even imagine. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you want to come check out some guns?"
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You want to buy some?
Customer's always right.
Let's load up. Let me load up the gun, and then I'll tell you how much it's you're gonna pay me.
How do you get into the gun selling business if you're a tiny little old man in the West? I feel like that won't last long. You won't be old.
Yeah.
So Sergio Leone and Ennio Morricone worked together 6 times all told. This is the 3rd time, 3 in a row for the trilogy, and then he did Once Upon a Time in the West, Duck, You Sucker, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which were all the rest of Sergio Leone's movies. So once they had that little relationship, then they went forever with it.
Kismet.
Yeah, and Ennio Morricone is credited as one of the best composers of all time, and he had never gotten any awards in the West because spaghetti westerns were not highly regarded back then. But he did get one for The Hateful Eight, which he did for Tarantino back in,
nice.
Whenever that came out, 2018, something like that. So he has one now. That's a pretty good movie too. Mostly because of the score. Kind of long. 3.5 hours. It's a little much. Living in a cabin for 3.5 hours. Stephen King wrote in the beginning of his Dark Tower trilogy that this movie and the Lord of the Rings novels were the main influence on that series of books.
Oh, cool.
Which you can see. John, have you read those ones?
Not the Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower.
No.
The first one,
is it?
I could see that being the case. The second one onwards, he just freaking loses his mind.
It just gets weird.
It gets super damn
anyway?
weird. From the opening chapter of the second book, it gets very strange. The first one's serious as fuck. It's like a weird tonal cowboy post-apocalyptic thing where he's on a journey. It's like when he goes in and there's these giant crab monsters and he teleports into a beach and they start eating his arm and he loses some fingers and then it's just it's completely wacky from then on. So that's King for you.
Yeah.
A sequel was written by the guy who wrote this movie and it was supported by Eli Wallach and Clint Eastwood. Eastwood was going to do the narration and it was going to be about the Tuco character and some more adventures with Tuco. So it was
cool.
all ready to go, but Sergio never wanted to do it. And then they got it to the point where it's like, guys, we got a script, we got some backers, let's do it. And Sergio was like, no, I told you, I'm not going to do it. We're not doing it. So then I took it off the ground. But there was a script.
Okay.
How mad would you be if that was your project?
I think they probably knew that was going to happen, right? They're just like, maybe if we write it, he'll change his mind.
Yeah.
Knowing that they probably won't change his mind.
Yeah.
If they're if they're reasonable, hopefully that's what happened. But so that graveyard set at the end was built, 100% built, depending on what you read. Either the pyrotechnic crew or the Spanish army built it. I don't know how you confuse those two things.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Exactly.
It's they had the Spanish army where the extras, 1,500 Spanish army people were there on set to do the running and stuff. So they were there, but the pyrotechnic crew also there for the exploding. Yeah, I don't know. But it was 5,000 graves, and they built it in 1966 and abandoned it, like they did with like all the sets in these movies. They just built it and abandoned it in the desert. In 2015, fans went and dug up. They found the stone circle. They dug it up, and then they started restoring the entire thing.
Whoa!
And there's
cool.
a documentary called Sad Hill Unearthed. Came out in 2017. It's got Ennio Morricone in it. It's a documentary about how these people like restored the set for the end of this movie. It's just fans of the movie.
That is actually really cool.
It is, and apparently it's a pretty good documentary if you like the movie. Just like, you know, people that were involved being like, people still care about my movie. Hooray!
That's
We're not
true.
going to be forgotten when we die. Yeah, I mean, they abandoned so much stuff during the making of all these westerns that the 4 of the scenes in this movie, I won't be able to remember all of them, but like the gun store scene, one of the town scenes, and 2 other ones were in the abandoned set that was used as the town of El Paso in For a Few Dollars More. That was just
wow.
abandoned.
But they wanted to show these burned out towns anyway, so
Right.
it's sort of like
And they didn't
fits,
restore
right?
it at all.
Yeah.
They just abandoned it.
Nice.
Came back a couple years later.
it
We're like,
worked out
this is
well.
fucking perfect. That building fell over? Perfect.
That's right.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like anybody's been up here. Nope.
Nope.
That's good.
Well, it's in the middle of the desert. Yep. No running water.
Oof.
The poncho he wore the same poncho in all 3 movies. They never cleaned it.
Oh.
Just the
Really?
same poncho, uncleans. Yep.
Nice.
I mean, I guess that works, right?
Does he gets the poncho from the dead kid soldier? Is that where he grabbed it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, this smells great. It's got corpse smell all
That's
over it.
awesome. Yep.
That's one good thing where you feel like you're kind of disconnected from the movie is all the smells. You don't feel like you're experiencing what smells they must be experiencing in this whole
That's
journey.
true.
That'd probably be good.
When this movie was originally released, it mostly had medium to bad reviews.
Huh.
Spaghetti westerns were not, again, not a hot commodity in the
trash.
States. People thought
Right.
they're automatically like, this is trash. Yeah, it's too violent. They're made trashily. It's just the violence. I think the audio thing probably fucked with a lot of people.
I mean, it would for me.
Well, it makes it look cheap.
Yeah.
It looks like a kung fu film,
Yeah.
It's
That's
like-
true. That's a
yeah.
good comparison.
And the thing is now, like, I have a really hard time. I watched it on 4K on this awesome TV. If you're watching like a rerun of this movie on like in a shitty theater and stuff, if you're not getting the visuals and if the sound from the speakers is like some old shitty tinny soundtrack, if you're not getting good audio and good visuals, this
Yep.
movie sucks.
I bet.
Right?
Totally.
I think. I don't know. It probably
that's
just looks
fair.
like the rest of them, but like, yeah, now that it's all restored and stuff, you can kind of see the craft that went into it.
Yeah, imagine that back in the day. There was like one speaker in the
Yeah.
movie theater. Oh, everything's mono.
In the beginning of the movie, it's like, listen up, folks. We got this thing coming to town next week. We're going to play the news for 25 minutes before this 3-hour long movie.
And don't forget, you can smoke inside the theater, folks. No problem. Smoke inside the theater.
Children not
tray
allowed.
right in
Tie them
your
up
armrest.
outside.
Yeah.
So the original working titles of this movie were the Magnificent Rogues and the Two Magnificent Tramps.
Huh.
And Leone impulsively changed it during a pitch meeting with United Artists. He was just rambling about what he was going to do, and then he came up with the title, and it stuck.
It is a great
It
title.
is a good
though,
one.
Too. It,
It is a
fits
good one.
so well, and it allows. It's where the score really fits in too. I mean, it just works really, really well with that because the title has a comic sense about it.
It's a
and so
phrase
it
now
fits
too.
really
It's
well.
like into
Yeah.
language now, right? People use that as a way to describe everything. The score charted for over a year. It was Morricone's most successful score. Just by itself,
Wow.
people were buying the records.
That's pretty cool.
So the bridge explosion, it was real. What happened was they did it twice. They only wanted to do it once. Nobody spoke the same language on these sets. They had walkie-talkies, they had all these people. That scene or set piece or whatever we want to call it had the most extras on it, most crew. 1,500 extras, bombs littering bridges they built and just like, yeah, all that shit. They were setting up to blow up the bridge. And the command was that Sergio was going to say in the walkie-talkie to the captain of the Spanish army, V or Vi. I don't know how to speak Italian or Spanish, whatever the fuck it is. He said, so Vi, let's just go with Vi. Vi means go. But if you say Vi, it means it's okay, continue. Like one means start and one means continue on the path. So like one of the crew members on Sergio Leone's side on the walkie-talkie, they were all sharing the same channel, which fucking, that's not the crew
Doesn't
members'
seem
fault.
right.
Use different channels, for fuck's sake. They're all using the same channel. One of the crew members said, "Vi," like, okay, as opposed to go. The guy with the button hit the button. None of the cameras were rolling. They blew up the bridge. Sergio Leone blew up at the crew member that said it.
Oh my God.
Fired him on the spot in front of everybody. The dude was really upset, ran to his car, drove off the set. Everyone was fucking freaking out. They didn't have like the most expensive shot in the movie. They were just
man.
fuck, guys, what the fuck do we do?
Holy shit, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
It's like blowing up. It's like,
And there were thousands of people to watch the fuck up, right? They just watched the movie fucking go down the drain, probably. It's what they all think. They just saw the director freak out, scream at a dude. The guy ran away, like crying, probably running to his car, driving off.
Shit. Traumatic experience.
So then the captain of the Spanish army was so upset by the whole thing and felt specifically so bad for the crew member that got fired. He told Leone he'd rebuild the bridge and let him shoot it again if they rehired that cast member back.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, now that's back in when someone has a fucking conscience, huh?
Yeah. No kidding.
Fucking A. It's not going to be the guy on set.
Obviously,
I'll tell you that
much. He was like, wait a minute, you're going to make me a $100,000 prop and give me some explosives for free? Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I'll take
we'll
the free
hire that
money.
guy back. Just make sure all he does is the food. Or not even
don't
that.
leave me in the same room with him.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Just make sure he doesn't come into work. But he's hired.
He's just not going to hire him for the next one.
He's hired. He's just not here.
Yeah.
That's all right.
He's like, don't work with that
That's
guy.
right.
He's going to be at the party. So don't work with that guy. He fucked up my entire bridge set. Piece of shit.
Wow. That's a fucking, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I mean,
wow.
They should have thought about that.
Right.
The word go sounds like okay. Choose a different word.
Where was the assistant director,
Yeah, I'm not sure there was one. They didn't talk about an assistant director at all.
They may not have had one.
Yeah, just Leone. He's a master TC. He doesn't need help.
Alone.
Well, he forgot one little thing. You can't have multiple languages on one channel.
Yeah.
Learned that one the hard way.
Clint doesn't speak French or Italian, which are Sergio Leone's two main languages, so he barely communicated with him at all. And then Eli Wallach spoke French, so they communicated in French, not their main languages, either of them. And I'm not sure how Lee Van Cleef communicated with him. I'm not sure he did. I'm sure Sergio was like pointed at the spot and then pointed at his face and then walked back to the camera. You got this, dude. Stare with your face. That's all you have to do.
Yep.
But can you imagine all the people on set? Clint would be working with extras or other people in the movie that spoke Italian. The other people would speak Spanish. And he's just sitting there like, I don't know what the fuck anyone's saying. I guess they're going to
he was just squinting with the damn thing in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah.
This is the best payday I've ever had. I don't have to talk to any of these people. I don't have to do anything. All I do is squint.
It's an odd way to make a movie. Nobody knows what's going on. You just have to trust the one guy that's going to like put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's pretty strange. Clint has gone on record saying he doesn't like this movie.
Oh, thanks, Clint.
He thinks it's bloated, and he thinks that Tuco is the only character that was fleshed out. And you know what, Clint? I can't disagree with you.
I can't either, really. Yeah.
It's fair.
There was a thing we've talked about previously called the Motion Picture Production Code of 1930, also called the Hays Moral Code, that existed through the 60s. And with this movie and its success in the States, they had to rewrite certain portions of it to fit foreign movies.
Oh, wow.
Because they still wanted to collect the money that these movies were making in, but they didn't want to have to rewrite the codes of the movies they were making in the States. And before this, there weren't too many foreign movies that were making lots of money that even had to be considered, right? You just have like tiny theaters playing weird, French movies, or like not weird, but like non-American French movies that American audiences weren't going out to see in droves. But this was different, and they couldn't get away with editing a lot of this stuff because the people wanted to see the violent parts, right? Yeah. So they're like, maybe if we just let the violence come in the foreign movies, we can avoid blame.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah. Only the more culturally attuned people will watch it, and they're probably more responsible anyway, or something. I don't know what they told themselves, but I mean, that was like a step, a step in the direction of getting rid of all the things that say you can't show a gun and the person dying in the same shot, in the same frame, which is what Leone did with for Fistful of Dollars. That was like the first movie to play in the States that had that. That was a big no-no. That pissed a lot of people off. The smacking a woman in the UK cut, they cut out all the slaps except for one. It was like, there's too much slapping. Too much slapping.
Like, do we need to slap that many times?
You didn't need to see me slapped 8. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
As I learned from The Substance, John, yes, you do. You need all the
apparently it
slaps.
is, yes.
Oh, God, help.
Strong, yes.
Every single one is necessary for the effect.
Help me. I'm sorry, Substance. You're right. You're right, Substance. I'm sorry.
Don't anger the substance. Let's see. Hopping all over the place here with my trivia. This is the highest rated movie on IMDb to not have any Oscar nominations or wins,
Wow.
which is kind of saying something, but at the same time, it's number 10. So, what was the Shawshank Redemption nominated for? Screenplay?
Couldn't tell you.
It got more nominations than that, didn't it? It got
More
Best
than
Picture,
zero?
yeah.
I don't know.
More than screenplay. It got. I thought it had Best Picture.
Did it?
Best
Okay.
Picture nomination. I thought it had
Maybe.
multiple.
Maybe it did. Let's see. Oh, Eli Wallach almost died twice during this movie. One was the scene. This one doesn't make sense to me because I thought it was a planned part of the shot, but the first escape where he's getting shot, he's like on the horse and the rope gets shot and he rides off on the horse and it's going super fast. Apparently that wasn't planned. I'm not sure what the plan was, but the horse was running way faster and for way longer than it was supposed to because it got scared from the gunshot. So the horse was going way too fast. His hands were handcuffed behind his back. He was squeezing the horse with his knees for a mile.
Oh, God.
Man.
And the horse is going like 30 miles an hour. So like he would have fucked himself up, if not killed himself, if he had fallen off the horse.
Can they have like breakaway handcuffs or something? You'd think like, Jesus, like you.
Not in this movie.
Yes, not.
They used real guns with blanks almost every single time. The scene where they had the old guy in the bed and Angel Eyes puts the pillow on his head and fires two shots at him. Real gun, real blanks.
Jesus.
Fired inches away from the dude's head. He had earplugs in, but apparently he suffered from hearing loss, and he was terrified because they put a metal sheet in the pillow for it, so in case like some of the
Just in
freaking
case.
stuff from the blanks, which exists, like it was there to protect his face.
Oh, my God.
Fucking crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Whenever they'd fire blanks like at the horses, or like when Clint like shoots it at the stagecoach right at the horses' asses, and they run away, just real blanks. There's no tricks there.
Damn,
It's insanity.
Kicked run over by horses.
Yeah. Eli Wallach drank acid at one part in this movie by accident.
What?
So they have these the sacks where the gold. So they have the sacks of gold, and there's a shot where they want to smack it with a spade and have it split open and have the gold spill out.
Yeah.
Those sacks are really strong. So if you hit it with a spade, it wouldn't just split open and have gold spill out. So they had acid to break down the fibers of those bags, so they could easily slice it and have it come open.
Could you do something else?
They
I
put
mean,
the
gotta
acid
be, right?
in a lemon soda container. It was a soda container that said lemon soda on it, and the acid was in there. And Eli picked it up and drank it.
He's in the fucking desert.
Oh,
Sure.
my God.
He didn't swallow it. He would have died if he swallowed it, but it started burning his mouth immediately, and he had sores in his mouth for weeks afterwards.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
Dude.
Yeah. That's what you get for making a
This
movie in the
seems
Spanish
like
desert with a guy who can't speak your language.
A couple of the
Right.
worst decisions you could think of making at the time. Okay, we're going to use acid to break open these bags. There's no other way we can do this. We're going to have to use a really powerful acid. There's nothing else we can do. We have to.
I don't have an acid container that has a skull and crossbones on it. I get this one with a happy lemon face
so
on it. I
just
think
put
that'll
it
be
in a
good.
happy lemon soda can for the kids. You know,
No one's going to steal a soda in the desert, right? No one's thirsty out here.
Yeah,
Nobody
right?
is.
Jesus Christ.
That's crazy.
It's amazing that these people aren't in prison or dead a lot of the time.
Wow.
Seriously.
Yeah. The other time was, so I guess that might have been 3 times. So that wasn't, so there is a third time.
Yeah, that's
When-
you're right. You've
that
got
is already 2. I got
Next
another
is
one.
3.
So when they shot the scene where Tuco was cutting the handcuffs by putting a body on the train track and he's
Oh, yeah.
to the side and laying down.
That also
That's-
seemed. Yes, go on.
he didn't want to do that because he was afraid. Sergio Leone convinced him it was totally safe and he'd be fine and he should get in the shot and do it. So he was convinced to do it. And in the movie, you can see the train going over him. There's a platform that goes, I couldn't notice it, but apparently it goes like inches above his head. And he's as flat on the ground as he could be. And the thing like skins his head. And if it would have crushed his head otherwise. It doesn't matter how
Jesus
slow
Christ.
the train is going. It's a giant metal thing and his head is in it. So yeah, that almost killed him too.
Jesus Christ. This movie wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Couldn't you have you didn't have to put the whole guy's body on the track? Couldn't you have looped the chain, just did a loop of the chain or something like that? It
shit.
just seemed like pretty excessive that you have to put the whole body in the middle of the train track. And I don't
What, are
know.
you just going to lop the arm off to stay further away from the tracks? But then you're carrying around a dead person's arm.
No, but can't you like put like make it?
You're talking about his logic in the movie or the stunt guy or like the stunts?
No, I'm
in
just
the
the
making
logic
of?
in the movie. Like
Okay.
couldn't you like put a loop of the chain there so it's like somehow not like have to put the whole two bodies? Like you just put a loop there. I don't know. It just seemed like pretty dangerous.
I think the way they did it was
like what if
he
it
was on
doesn't
one
quite- what
side,
if
the
it
body
doesn't-
was the other, right?
Right, what if
and
it
he was
doesn't-
pulling the
yeah,
arm, so he
but
had
the-
the most slack on his side.
Right, but the body would get caught by the cattle guard before the wheels cut the chain, and so basically it would just slingshot you.
Oh, that's a good point. Does the cattle thingy not hit him?
Yeah, the whole point of the cattle guard, the whole point is those trains have stuff in front to prevent like if a cow or whatever the hell is there, so it's not going to get in the wheels and derail.
Would
the
a guy
chain,
laying
so-
down flat, would that
He was fat.
would that do it?
He's about like he's small cow size. So I don't
think
know.
you make a really
But
good point, John.
It just seemed like a really bad idea.
Yeah,
You're
because
gonna-
then as soon as that guy he starts to get sucked in and rolling in, you're twisting and you're going in too.
Yeah, let's say even if he does get under there, but it doesn't quite cut the chain right soon enough, then it seems like you're in a lot of trouble.
Oh, geez. I think
Anyway.
you're
Yeah,
right.
think
That
about
sounds
that.
terrible. Yeah. The editing was so good, John. He couldn't even think about it when it was
That's
happening.
right. That's right.
I didn't look this up, so we can look this up now. Apparently, between Eli Wallach and Clint Eastwood, there's a 9-inch height difference between them.
I mean, I could see that.
Is Clint the tall one and Eli the small one?
Yeah,
I would assume.
Yeah?
Yes.
absolutely.
Otherwise, Eli is like 7 feet tall, I guess. Because Clint's like 6 feet tall, right? Maybe.
Yeah, Clint's not short.
But they had to like frame a lot of the shots with that in mind because they're in a lot of the scenes together and they wanted them to seem like they were the same height. So that was like a constant consideration while making this movie.
Interesting.
Lee Van Cleef, who plays Angel Eyes, would not hit the actress in that scene. He refused to do it. He says
Good
the
for
only
him.
two things he won't do are kick puppies, John's favorite thing to do, and hit women. He won't do it. He just
Good for
won't.
him.
My second favorite thing.
Sergio Leone did not think that was a good answer, so he got one of the stunt guys to come in and slap the shit out of her.
This asshole won't listen to me. Would you do it? Thanks.
Yeah, sure, whatever, man. What do you
Look,
want, boss?
guys, all I know is that she's
How many
gonna
times?
get slapped.
Hit a woman.
So
I knew how I
someone
signed up
step
for this
up
job.
and do it.
That's right.
But like even the woman actor like was super into it. She's like, I want you to hit me. I want it to
No,
look real.
choke
And Lee
me
Van
too. I
Cleef-
mean, what? No, I mean,
Lee Van Cleef was like, even though you want me to do it and he wants me to do it, I'm not going to do it. So then the stunt guy's like, I got time.
I'll do it. Fuck, you know.
I'm angry.
Hey,
I'm
I'm just
on
a
the clock,
stunt
guys.
guy. What do I know, right?
Oh man,
What do I know? I'll do anything. Give me
that's
money.
right.
So when Eli Wallach flew to Madrid for the scenes there, he didn't plan any hotels or anything, and neither did Sergio Leone or the production crew. He landed in Madrid, was like, I don't know where I'm staying. They were like, we don't have a place for you. He went around trying to find a hotel. They were all booked because the entire production team was like there. So then he just had to call Clint Eastwood and was like, I need a place to stay. Clint was staying at one of his friends' place that had a place in Madrid, and Eli Wallach and Clint Eastwood slept in the same bed together there when they were filming.
Ooh, little hanky
Nice.
panky.
Clint Eastwood's wife was also there, and she used to joke that Eli Wallach was the
trouble.
only man who's ever slept with Clint Eastwood.
Ah,
I see.
nice.
Yeah.
I see.
How do you not get your actors accommodations? What is this production?
They're
This guy
just,
flies
he doesn't
in
give
from
a
the
fuck.
United
He's
States,
like,
and
guys,
just like,
all I want to do is
figure it
zoom
out,
in on
guys."
your eyes. All right?
Wait. Look, I want you tired. I want you like
You
disheveled.
slept on the ground outside? Good, use it.
That
it's going to
is
look better.
Perfect. That's right.
Yeah, it's a weird guy.
It is a weird guy.
Yeah. That is it. That is all I have.
All right.
Would you put it in the top 250? I'm going to go yes.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Wow. I'm surprised.
You
I
don't
mean,
think the amount of freaking
you know,
obvious influence this movie had on
I know.
Saturday
I
It's
know.
Tate's
hard to
Stride?
say no.
Okay, fine. Yes.
That's why it's a
And it's
9.
Yeah,
I know. It's hard to say, but yeah.
you just wanted to have one of us yell at you to change your opinion.
That's right. That's
You're a
right.
pushover,
It's
John.
a-
I can
You're
change your
wrong,
opinion
John.
every time I'm
You're
trying.
wrong.
That's why I
Turn
don't
your
really wanna
opinion
feel
into
like,
ours.
that's why I feel not so
And you'll
responsible.
be right.
That's right.
No, but are you really a yes or a no? What does your heart tell you, John?
My
Even
heart-
knowing all the influence that this movie still puts out there,
Yeah.
and does it the best in some ways.
Yeah. I know. I think it'd have to go yes. And I would say it because of the soundtrack puts it over the top.
I'd agree. If it wasn't for the soundtrack, no one would be talking about this movie.
True. That's fair.
Yeah, he's the John Williams before John Williams.
Yeah.
Before the mid-'70s had John Williams take over, blockbusters and
everything.
Yeah. All right, guys. Whew. We're finally here. It's time.
All right.
It's time for Lord of the Rings, TC.
I like it. I'm ready.
It's time.
All right.
I've been psyching myself up, so I'm ready.
These Lord of the Rings episodes are going to be long, I assume, where it's holiday season now. So there's probably going to be a break. After this episode, there'll be a break of a week or 2 or 3 or something, because I think we'll want to release all the Lord of the Rings ones in order.
All right. I like this idea.
So if we get because we're probably going to be able to record a couple of them before Christmas, but then we need to wait until afterwards to record the Return of the King, and then we'll figure it out. But there will be a break.
Okay.
That's so hard to say.
Yeah.
There will be a break. Okay.
There will be a break.
There will be break.
There will be break.
And then we'll probably try to get into the Oscar nominated.
Yes.
movies.
We're going to have to start hitting those too.
That's
Yeah,
our
for sure.
yearly extra bit that we've been doing.
That's again. If there's not anything in the theaters we want to go see, I still want to see the
Nosferatu is going to be out next year, guys. It's coming out on Christmas Day.
There's that. What
The
about
reviews are
out.
It's looking
the Pope
good.
one that's gotten really good reviews.
Conclave also looks good.
Also, it will be
got
rentable
Voldemort in
soon. The Smile 2 has over
I
80%
kinda wanna
see that.
Rotten Tomatoes for a horror film.
I kind of want to see that.
You should watch the Smile one. It's a good movie.
I did.
You did? You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, it's Kevin
I don't know.
Bacon's daughter. She's a pretty freaking good actor, huh?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a great movie.
Anyway,
Yeah.
there might be, I don't know, we might throw a couple of ones in there before
Oh,
we get
there's
going.
always going to be curveballs.
I know. Just
And
telling you.
even the website. We always say go to the website to check.
I know,
I think the
'cause
website says
Conclave
we're
I
going
do
to
wanna
watch
see. Yeah.
A Real Pain today, but oops.
Yeah. Blah.
Good, bad, and the ugly. Didn't do that one.
Yeah, that's true.
So keep you on your toes. Website
Okay.
visiting audience members.
Yeah. We'll be
All right.
here.
So if
If
that
not
is the case,
soon.
then I think we're going to talk to you guys
Yeah.
next year.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy
All right,
New Year.
all.
Merry holidays. Happy. I don't know what to say.
Drink your eggnog and fuck yourselves. All right.
Enjoy while it lasts.
All right. Talk to you guys
See
then.
you later, guys.
All right. See ya.